So I guess this means I'm live, it appears. So I posted the box opening video and a little teaser. So we're going to get started with steps 1 and 2, and this includes putting in the already assembled, unfortunately, but that's the way it is, battery case. We have the frame, parts of the frame. Now, the glue I'm going to be using, glue gels in the past, and the thin super glue. But on these models, and I'll probably use that on some parts of it, but for the most part, I'll be using the Tamiya extra thin cement. You can see here. Simply because it's much easier to work with. So we'll start with the easiest. Now the chrome pieces that you see in the directions, there's some chrome pieces here, here, and here. Those I'll wait to put on until after I have painted the main part of the frame, because number one, I don't want to screw up the chrome, and number two, I always have to scrape the chrome a little bit so that the glue will actually, with the chrome plating doesn't really work that well with glue. So and as you can see with this, I have already sprayed the black pieces with a flat white base, and we're going to start with that, and it's calling for this is pretty easy because here's the A, you got the A, and we're going to get part number 1. And just snip that. So that comes out. And then you want to make sure that you get your frames lined up in the right direction. I'm going to check this since it popped off the sprue. Make sure it doesn't have any extra nap. And this little piece, I'll make sure you get it orientated right because there's actually a long part and a short. And the long part goes towards the right part of the frame, and it fits in about like that. So I take the cement, and we put just a little droplet right inside that little, and we pop this in and let that set for a few minutes. I am also shooting this video from my overhead, and I'll crop that down a little bit later. I think that provides a clearer picture, and I'll upload it after a while as kind of a bonus little part. And then this didn't quite line up, whoever put it together, so I'm going to just smooth this off just a little bit using a flat file. And take just a sandpaper a little bit and run it over the top. Now, maybe you wonder why I've got the other parts with a flat white primer coat. I'm going to paint this in the frame and the other parts in a gunmetal type color. And with the white, it will help bring out the gunmetal on the interior part of the frame, and it will help darken it on the exterior of the frame, these parts. And then the next piece that should go in is this little dude. And again, you have to make sure that it gets orientated. And it does kind of get a little tricky from time to time how these actually go in. And let's see here. There we go. Man, I got to tell you, I like these older models a little bit better. And for the glue, I just take a nice drop on the little brush and put it right where those connections are. And it doesn't really matter at this point if it runs a little bit. A, I don't have any paint, and B, this is just the first steps. So with that lined up, we get the other part of the frame. And we'll make sure that these other parts get lined up. Getting these to line up just right. Because there's, what, 5 different connection points. Whoops, popped out. This is why I haven't added any glue yet. Want to make sure that I get these lined up right. And it doesn't seem to want to cooperate. But it'll go. Put that one, and then we'll get that one close. Maybe. There we go. And then we take the glue and go right along the connecting points. There she went. Needed just a little bit of help with the X-Acto knife. And then we've got up here on the main part of the frame, this is where your fuel tank's going to be and where your front forks will be extended out of. So we want to make sure that this gets a good glue seal to help hold those forks into place. Even though it's got some long screws, without it being together decent, that screw's not going to help a whole lot. Turn it upside down. We go along the bottom side. Using this glue, it's really quick to set, and it actually, you got to be a little careful with it because it actually melts the plastic to hold things in place. So once it's dry, you're getting a really good bond. Maybe not as good as a super glue. But it does what it's supposed to do. Now the next piece I'll put on is, and like I said, this back piece here is chrome, the rear fender, which was very popular back in the day to have chrome fenders front and back instead of the painted fenders, and like you see on bikes now. But times change, and that's just the way it works. So that piece won't be going on until after the paint. And then for this piece, make sure I get plenty on. And it just kind of sits right inside there. There's a little ledge for it. Not much of one. And this helps hold the rear frame together once it sets up and is dry as well. So that's the assembly of steps 1 and 2, minus the chrome, of course, which will go on after everything's dry and everything's painted. And I like to let this glue dry for a good couple of hours before I start hitting it with the paint, because I don't want to do anything to the glue and have it mess up. So I'm going to set this off to the side. I will continue on in the next video, and that will be step 3, because I'll go ahead and connect the fenders and the chrome pieces after this has been painted, and you'll see that in the next video before I start with step 3. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be uploading that close-up video from the overhead camera relatively soon. Oh, hey, again, guys, thanks for watching.